Hi there, I'm Dr. Debbie, and I know many of my followers are men and women of faith. Some of my followers are not. Either way, I want to talk to you for just a few minutes about how to pray more effectively for a man or how to surround him with positive energy. In particular, we want to talk about how to pray for or surround your husband with positive energy. You can be a blessing to him. An ancient proverb states, "He who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord." And one way a wife can participate in giving her husband favor is by praying for him or surrounding him with positive energy. If you're a woman who prays or thinks, of course you pray for or think about your husband. But the question is, what kind of prayers are you praying? What kinds of thoughts are you thinking? What is the content of your heavenly requests? Your relational energy? Are you just asking that he get his act together so that your life will be easier? Are you criticizing him in your moment by moment thoughts? Or are you sincerely interested in making sure he gets his emotional, relational, and spiritual needs met so he can become the man he could be? If you're not seeing positive results with your current thoughts and prayers, you might want to consider this. First, get in the cave with your husband. That sounds weird, doesn't it? But the cave is a place where he goes to process problems and pain and perplexities, things he doesn't have a ready solution for. Usually, a woman's idea of getting in that cave with her husband isn't actually the way he needs her to be there. What I'm talking about is growing your ability to understand him emotionally and spiritually without becoming verbally invasive. Because let's face it, women are prone to be verbally invasive when we're feeling desperate. What do I mean by verbally invasive? Well, first, don't insist that he talk about his feelings. He probably doesn't fully understand them himself. He was actually trained from an early age not to talk about his feelings. Remember, by the time he was in kindergarten, he was beginning to process things internally, inside of himself. And in that process, because he's not used to having feedback, he doesn't know how to talk about his emotions. He doesn't see any reason to talk about them. He's working on solving a problem. Now, his emotions are his motivator to do something, but they're not a motivator to sit around and talk about it. Second, do this instead. Listen more, talk less. Now, that sounds like I'm just telling you to keep quiet about things, but what I'm actually asking you to do is to make space for him. Women communicate in a back and forth pattern. So when he does start talking about what's going on for him, you get excited and jump right in, adding your thoughts and feelings and ideas. In doing so, he's getting the message that you don't care what he's dealing with. But that's not true at all. You care very much. So instead, just don't comment right away. When you listen more and talk less, you create more space for him, and you'll learn the most about him in that process. Now, he may not say a lot with words, but if you listen closely, you can hear even more by observing his behavior. Pay close attention to what he does. Is his body tense? He's probably anxious or ready for action. Is he slumping? He's probably exhausted or feeling defeated. Does he look angry? He's probably determined or feeling powerless. Before you respond, make sure your interpretation is accurate. You can make an educated guess and turn it into empathy. Men rarely get empathy, even under the roughest of circumstances. So, what would empathy sound like? Well, you could say something like, "You seem tense. I can only imagine how much pressure you're under." Then stop talking, because any elaboration on the subject or expectation that he respond only adds to his pressure. Instead, you just want him to know you care and that you're on his side. The fewer words you use, the more effective your communication will be. Remember, listen more, talk less. Above all else, avoid giving him advice. It will not work. It backfires every time. Yes, you do have great ideas. Women are amazing. But our advice often sounds emasculating. Instead, pray, think, have a two-way conversation with God or the universe if that fits you better. That is, run your ideas by the source of wisdom and listen for the response. Wisdom knows this man well and wants him to fulfill his potential. Sometimes, in your best efforts to hurry the process along, you could get in the way. And a final warning, keep the content of your thoughts and prayers between you and the source of wisdom. Now, if you're working with a counselor, it's fine to share your ideas there. Counseling is a safe place to talk about whatever's on your mind. But you absolutely must refrain from talking to your mother, your sisters, your girlfriends about your husband's vulnerability. That's not a good place to put it. You want to keep him safe and protected. Of course, if he's involved in substance abuse or infidelity, you need as many people as you can around you supporting you through that process. And it can be really tough to set healthy boundaries without attacking, blaming, and criticizing. Yes, it can be done, but few can break the codependent cycle without significant support. If that's what you need, check out Al Anon or Celebrate Recovery. However, if there's no substance abuse, there's no infidelity, and there's no domestic violence, give the listen more, talk less strategy a try. If you'd like to learn more about the psychology of men in marriage, you can follow my podcast, enroll in my course, and always remember, I'm here to help.